Hello. I just thought this video might be worth making because this is this is the aftermath of a post PTSD shutdown, or I don't know what the right terminology for it is, but yeah. So today was treatment day. And I was supposed to have my Zoladex and my denosumab. And so I have been having a lot of issues with the Zoladex injection. Zoladex is the brand name for a drug called Goslorin, which works on deactivating the ovary's ability to produce estrogen. And this is important for someone like me that has estrogen receptive breast cancer. What that means is that my cancer feeds off estrogen, or estrogen is like a fuel. It's like giving red cordial to a ADHD kid at a party. You just don't do it. And so it's a very invasive treatment in that it's requires a 14 gauge needle, which a 14 gauge needle means that it's 1.4 millimeters, which doesn't sound like a lot until it's going into your stomach. And it has to deliver the Zoladex, or the Goslorin itself is a small pellet that is a bit like a grain of rice. And my beautiful friend that took me for treatment today, she's a nurse as well, so she's very knowledgeable in lots of areas, and she has done especially youth nursing and child nursing for so long. And she made a very valid point that if you are someone that has experienced trauma, so often that trauma occurs when some part of your life is control is taken away from you, is often part and parcel with the traumatic experience, be it violence or whatever it is, sexual abuse, that you've lost your control over your life. And so then finding yourself, and I think there is definitely a correlation between traumatic experiences and the developments of disease, even if it's in terms of that traumatic incidences cause stress on the body, and that stress is known to weaken the immune system of the body. And I know there are also studies that show the correlation between stress and the development of cancer. And if you look at epigenetics is the study of which genes are actually activated within a human's genome. And just because we have certain genes doesn't actually mean that they'll be activated. And this is poignant especially for people like me with the BRCA. I've got BRCA2 gene. So not just because you have BRCA2, yes, it does make you more susceptible to developing breast cancer, but not every single person with BRCA is going to have that epigenetic activation of the BRCA2 gene, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've been finding it increasingly difficult to tolerate the injection. I've had probably an equal number now. I'd say this is treatment number 10 or 11. So I'm closing my eyes because I'm quite shut down, which I guess it's hard to understand unless you're someone that has had PTSD. And I haven't had I have not had a response, or I have not been triggered to this extent in many, many, many years. And yeah, it's quite interesting to observe it from that point of view, coming from a place of insight, and being able to observe what sort of actually happened to my body during the experience, and the lack of control that I had over the experience. I mean, I managed to maintain a certain level of control, but my entire body just started to shake. It was quite difficult to breathe, and tears just came out of my eyes. And it was like just this I felt like my entire nervous system sort of shut down. And that's why I just feel absolutely exhausted now. I feel like I have just run 10 marathons in a row. Oh my God. And this is, I think, important to talk about, because I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm documenting this because this is a very real aspect of medical treatment, and it's a very real thing, this medical fatigue. These amazing treatments, they're great and all, but so yeah, today I did manage to have the denosumab. So the denosumab, I think, like I said, is designed to strengthen my bones. It's a similar drug to the Prolia that they give women and men for osteoporosis as a prevention. And then, I was not able to have the Zoladex, but I have discussed this with my oncologist, and I feel that I've made the right decision. So she has referred me to a gynecologist, and I am going to discuss ovarectomy, which is having my ovaries removed. And then that would mean I would no longer need the Zoladex, because the Zoladex is literally just to shut down my ovaries and stop them from producing estrogen. So if they're not there anymore, they're not going to be producing estrogen. If you are someone that suffers from PTSD, I think, I don't know, I guess I'm sharing this because sometimes you can feel very abnormal. And I wanted to sort of just show that it is normal if you have suffered from trauma, or even if you haven't, and you're just going through something and you have that kind of shutdown moment and you're left like this. So in terms of self-care now, it's obviously really important that I make sure I drink lots of water. Of course, I came home and had a glass of wine. I was like, oh my God. And I'm so glad my beautiful friend stayed with me and had a glass of wine with me, which I was so grateful for. And now I'm going to, and I'll probably start having a hot flush now. Anyway, maybe I should document that too. See, I'm going red. This is the chemical menopause. And then I ultimately, I look like I've had a shower. I'll be saturated. No, if I can turn it off. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, but yeah, it's like I feel like all this adrenaline has just surged through my body, and I just feel so exhausted and drained now. Anyway, yeah, warriors of light. We've got this. Yeah, I'm going to go rest. Hope everyone's taking care of themselves. Be gentle with yourself. I'm going to be very gentle with myself. Mwah. Peace out.